Hello guys, let's say we have this problem, okay? 3x plus 4y equals to 4. And the question would be for us to find the slope and the y-intercept, okay? So one thing to know here is that in order for you to find the slope and the y-intercept, since you have the um, an equation right here in standard form, you would need to um, put it in slope-intercept form. And the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line is y equals to mx plus b, okay? In which case the m would be the slope and the b would be the y-intercept, right? Now in this case here, you don't have the you don't have it written in the slope-intercept form, so it would be good for you to bring it to that form. Well, all you got to do is to have y on one side by itself. So I'm going to solve for y, okay? Remember in my another video of mine, I showed you how to solve for solve little equations. So you can actually solve for variables in terms of other variables. So express them in terms of other variables. So in this case here, you can actually solve for y. I would need to subtract 3x on both sides, okay? Subtracting 3x on both sides. Then you have, this is cancelled now. So you have 4y equals to negative 3x plus 4, right? After that, solving for y, you would have to divide both sides by 4, so everything by 4. And this is cancelled out, so you have y equals to negative 3 over 4x plus 4 divided by 4 is 1. Therefore, what do you see here? This is the slope, m equals to negative 3 over 4. And this is the y-intercept, b equals to 1. Or you could just write it this way or as an ordered pair where x is 0 and y is 1, okay? So you can write it as an ordered pair, again, 0, 1, and the slope would be negative 3 over 4. So this is what you do to find the slope and y-intercept of the equation of a line, okay? Now, this is it for an actual problem written like this, but what if it was given, the problem given to you was not like in standard form here? What if it was the equation of a vertical line, okay? Now, equations of vertical lines, they're written as x, like x equals to something like, let's say negative 1, for example. So this equation, once you see it like this, you would know that it's written as x equals to a, which is the equation. Let me put it here because I'm trying to put in red my explanation. So this would be the equation of a vertical line, okay? A vertical line. I put VL right here for vertical line, okay? Now, since this is the equation of a vertical line, you wouldn't be able to do anything with this right here. All you gotta know is that for a vertical line, the slope m is undefined. Why again? Because if let's say for example you have a graph like this and a vertical line right here, for example at a, now the y value, remember the formula to find the slope would be x y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now in this case here, the bottom part here, x2 minus x1, because it's only one value here, you don't have, there's no movement here, it would be 0. So you would have to divide by 0. That's why, you know, dividing by 0, the answer would be undefined, okay? So in this case, you know, the slope, if it's vertical, if it's a vertical line, the slope would be undefined, okay? Because you divide by 0. Well, okay, on the top right, the slope for a vertical line, the slope would be undefined, and the y, in this case here, would you have a y-intercept, by the way? y-intercept? Well, there would be no y-intercept because, I mean, it's not on the, it doesn't cross the y-axis, so no y-intercept in this case here at 1. So you would say y-intercept none, okay, in this case here, because it doesn't even touch the y-axis, okay? Because at x equals -1, even if I graph it here for you, x equals -1 right here, so the line would be right here, the vertical line, so it just crossed the x-axis, so there would be an x-intercept but no y-intercept because it doesn't cross the y-axis, okay? The y-axis is right here, it doesn't cross it, so no y-intercept, and the slope is undefined, okay, for this problem right here. How about another one for vertical lines, okay? Because I'm trying to show you all the cases, the possibilities, the cases you may encounter when solving such problems. So let's say you had, for example, y equals -1 instead. So if you have y equals -1, well, in this case, you know that y equals a, this is actually a horizontal line, okay? A horizontal line. What does that mean? Okay, let me graph it for you so you can see what I mean. Well, at -1, you would have your graph right here. At -1, so it will be right here. Now, obviously, this is x, this is y. Obviously, you see that it crosses the y-axis, right? So, do you have a y-intercept? Well, yes, because it crosses the y-axis. So, the y-intercept would be -1, or you could say 0 for x and -1 for y. How about a slope? Well, the slope in this case would be 0 because it's a flat line. The slope would be 0 because now in this case m would be 0 divided by x2 minus x1. So on top you'll have 0 because it's flat right here, okay? When you do y1 minus y2, because they're kind of the same values here, okay? So it would be 0 divided by x2 minus x1. Then this would be 0. The answer in this case would be 0. So what I mean is that for a vertical line, the slope is undefined. For a horizontal line, the slope is 0. Remember that. For a vertical line, the slope is undefined. For a horizontal line, in this case here, just like this, the slope is 0. Okay, horizontal 0, vertical line undefined for the slope I'm saying, okay? And so remember to start what I said. You would have to know the slope-intercept form of the equation of a line plus b. Now these two, this formula you would have to know it if you have the standard form, so bring it to this form so you can get the slope and the y-intercept just like I showed you at the beginning of this video. Now if it's for the special cases when you have a horizontal line and when you have a vertical line, that's what I explained in my second part of this video, okay? So you can always go back and try to understand what I just said here, all right? It's not hard, but just place your mind and make sure you understand what I just said here. If you start with a standard, an equation in standard form, just write it in slope-intercept form like this, just like I did for the previous example. Then you can pick m as the slope and b as the y-intercept. Now, if it's a vertical line, you need to check to see what the value of x is. Now, if x is, as I showed you, -1, you know there would be no y-intercept because the graph does not touch the y-axis, so no y-intercept. But the slope will always be undefined, you know that, for vertical line. Now, in this case here, and that was the previous example. Now, in this case here, this example, it was y equals -1. We know this is a horizontal line. For a horizontal line, the slope would be 0, and the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis, okay? Very easy for you to do. Just place your mind. It should be pretty easy to you. Thank you.